Okay, and here we have the first of our finals for the day. It is the Honda Cadets. Obviously we've had a bit of a rain shower during the lunch break, so we'll see how this affects the young drivers out on this first of the finals. On pole position you have Charlie in kart 17, in kart 41 is Ollie Tyler. Ethan Leader is third on the grid, Sonny Smith is fourth on the grid, Joshua is in the kart 99 car, is in fifth on the grid, and Luke is in sixth. So this could be quite a nice little race to be in this afternoon. Let's see how the track drives for the other finals as well. Okay, they're coming around the top corner to come down towards the acceleration line for the start of this first final. And the lights go green, they are underway. And they're cleanly all through the first corner, heading into the S's. And we are looking like we've got Charlie as our leader at the moment. We'll see how this all pans out over this first few laps. We're looking like we have got Josh in the 99 car. Yes, he is. He's in second place. He's made up a couple of places there on the first few corners. And the pack is already starting to spread slightly. So over the line for the first lap we have Charlie from Josh, from Sonny, from Ethan, from Ollie, from Harry, from Luke, from Lewis. And we have all of the starters. There's a slight moment for one of the karts. That is the 55 kart of Harry James. Had to run slightly wide in the over the grass in the second part of the S's there. Be nicely back onto the track, loses a couple of positions, but he's got plenty of time in this 13-minute final to make them up. And at the moment the leaders still remain the same. Charlie from Josh, from by looks of things from Sonny, trying to see through the spray as they come down towards me now. Yep, it's Sonny Smith in third, and Ollie has moved himself up to fourth, putting Ethan Leader down into fifth. So there's plenty of movement going and overtaking going on between these young drivers, and a nice little overtake there by the 38 car of Kieran Jenkins going through the S's there, as the leaders make their way back through the horseshoe, all nice and clean and tidy. Charlie maybe running a little bit wide there, but still maintains position against Josh. And there is not a lot in between these drivers. Last time across the line it was 1/10 between the top two. And they are right, Josh is right behind Charlie now as they head down to the bottom corner. Is he looking for a move into the S's? No, he still maintains position. Charlie is an experienced little driver here, as well as Josh. Sonny Smith is currently still in third position, with Ollie Tyler in fourth. And the whole of the top four are separated by 0.6 of a second, so that is a tiny margin. And Josh is just trying to make a nice little move. Will he make it? Yes, he will. But Charlie is coming back in, so he head into the bottom corner. Charlie is being passed by Josh, but he's also been run out wide. It looks like Sonny Smith is having a go around the outside as they come off of the S's, heading back up to the back straight, which gives Josh just a little bit of room to pull slightly ahead, but he's still sat only a fraction between himself and second, third and fourth. So it'd be interesting to see how they pan out with 9.5 minutes still to go of this race. Josh starting to creep ahead slightly now, with Charlie and Sonny right behind each other, also followed by Ollie Tyler. hopefully they will work together and keep themselves in contention behind the leader and not hold themselves up too much. Further back in the pack, the next closest battles going on is between Lewis Foster, George Walker, Kieran Jenkins and Harry James. They are having a nice little battle amongst themselves as well, slightly further down the field. And it's nice to see these young drivers actually having some clean racing. Meanwhile, up front, Josh is extending his lead as the karts behind him jostle for position. It's 8 tenths between first and second now, and about 2 tenths between that and the next two behind him. And going into the hairpin, looks like Ollie Tyler, I believe, is making a move on Charlie. Yes, he has, and he's got past him. But Charlie is now sat in third, defending well against the 4th place driver of Sonny Smith. Josh knows all he's got to do at the moment is just keep it nice and clean and tidy while the others behind him jostle for position. They're starting to no, they're not. It appears they are actually. Sonny Smith moves up to third and pushes Charlie back down to 4th, just coming out of the out of the horseshoe there, sorry. And he maintains that. The 2nd place man of Ollie Tyler is starting to pull away from 3rd and 4th as they fight for position. Through the bottom of the circuit they go again for another lap. Josh is looking very clean and tidy on this drive, it has to be said. Ollie Tyler, Sonny Smith, Charlie and Ethan Leader are the next karts behind them. Ethan Leader is a short gap between them. There is a window opening up there. And it looks like Ethan Leader is being caught by Luke and Thomas. Is Sonny Smith going to start to make a move towards trying to overtake Ollie Tyler? He's starting to look closer lap by lap every time they go into the hairpin, of trying to look like making a move on the 2nd place man. But looking at it, the 2nd place man definitely knows he's there. A little look over his shoulders, they went through the right hander there just to see where he was, and he's just making he got a nice drive cover top corner as he pulled slightly away from the 3rd place man. And the 4th place man is right up behind 3rd, so this could be anybody for 2nd, 3rd or 4th position in this race as they head through the S's. Meanwhile, at the further down the pack with the novices, there is only 2 tenths of a second between the two last novices out there, who I don't recognise their names. I think they might be slightly newer to the racing scene, and it's nice to see them out and putting into practice all that hard effort to do their ARC test and get their licence and be out there racing today. Up front, Josh is now nearly 2 seconds in front of Ollie, with Sam Smith and Charlie right behind them. There's only 4 minutes, well over halfway. There's 4 minutes left of this final now. Plenty of time still to do it, with a lot of jostling going on and a lot of movement between second and third place. And third place makes a nice little move on second place, going through the S's there. Sonny Smith will behave himself, but can he maintain that momentum as they go down into the hairpin? He can. That was a nice clean move there, overtaking, going for third to second, sorry. I don't think though Ollie will settle for third. He looks like he's trying to pull back and look for a way of getting back past the second place man. Looking for a nice drive off the top corner, heading back down the start finish straight down towards the bottom. Is it going to be enough? Not this time. But if he keeps driving like this, it will get nice and interesting towards the finish on this one. Don't think either of them will settle for a second or a third in this race. They're both quite experienced around this circuit as well, so they both know where to put the kart to either put it to advantage or a disadvantage for each other. Meanwhile, up front, looks like Josh is nicely controlling this race. 2.3 seconds is the gap between first and second, and then 0.4 of a second between second and third on that lap. So second place man is starting to pull away slightly from Ollie Tyler. Charlie, on the other hand as well, is down in fourth. There is a reasonably large gap building there now. So be interesting to see how fifth and sixth deal with that, as they are now reeling him in. And a note should also be taken, that is a novice in fifth place, so well done to Thomas there for obviously having some very good heats during the course of the day to put himself in a position to be further up the field for the finals. And on that last lap, Sonny Smith is slowly closing in, not by a lot, just a 1/10 of a second here or 10th of a second there, onto Josh. So still time to play on that one, as there is just over a minute before the last lap ball comes out. So Josh really needs to keep this one nice and clean and tidy. It looks like we have a couple of laps ago, looks like Lewis Foster, sorry, has gone into the pit lane. So I have to find out later on what happened to poor old Lewis there. He was looking good for a little while. And that time round, Sonny Smith taking another 10th out of Josh on that lap. So just having a look out the window to see where they are. I think that gap might be a little too big to make up 30 seconds before the last lap ball comes out. So Josh is going to have another couple of laps to go before he sees the checkered, but it looks like a nice comfortable drive, and Sonny Smith is also pulling away gently from Ollie Tyler, but there's a nice sized gap, and then it's Charlie is in fourth, and Thomas is fifth, Ethan Leader is sixth, Luke Randall is seventh, Kieran Jacobs is eighth at the moment. Obviously all still a play for. And when the leaders come round, Josh will be seeing that last lap board, so he knows there's only about half a mile or so to go. As he makes his way round the top corner now, Josh will be eagerly waiting to see that last lap board from a nice solid drive. Little nod of the head to acknowledge the fact that he's seeing that last lap board. And Sonny Smith has now pulled another 0.2 of a second out of him, but Ollie Tyler is also sitting there waiting behind. There is a sizable gap, but it wouldn't be the first time anything's happened on the last lap. Hairpin they are at the moment. There is a back marker just in front of Josh, but he's plenty of room before he's going to need any blue flags on that one. And he looking quite comfortable there for the young lad Josh in kart 99, and Sonny Smith in 95 behind him. As he comes around the top corner now, he can almost taste that flag as he comes down towards it. Well done Josh on that win. 1.6 seconds ahead of the second, 1.2 seconds a lap, sorry, on ahead of Sonny Smith, Ollie Tyler, Charlie, Thomas, Ethan Leader, Luke Randall, and we're just waiting for Kieran Jenkins to come across the line now. He does, for 8th place. And who's it going to be between George and Harry? That was awfully tight. Sorry, it wasn't. I do apologise. That was a back marker. So George secures his 9th. Harry James is 10th. And over the line, Jake Adams, followed by Mason, followed by Sean Cuss, followed by Alex, and Ethan Leader in 15th. Edward Leader, sorry, in 15th. Trouble with having two brothers in the same class, and Lewis Foster rounds them up for 6th. And now we have out the Mini-Max final. On pole you have Jensen Watts. In 2nd place is Tom Adams. In 3rd is Corin Merrifield. In 4th is Will Uphill. In 5th is Ryan Taylor Truman. In 6th is Zachary Arthur. And so just making their way round the circuit, and they're heading up through the right-hander, which leads up to just before the last corner. Getting ready for a start. They're all bunching up nicely. So let's see how this one unfolds. And they make way down to acceleration line, and the lights go green, and it's a nice start by Tom Adams. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out. Jensen Watts leads them into the S's for the first time, with Connor in currently looking like he was in 2nd. There's a little look from, I believe that is Tom. Nope, didn't quite work out for him, but he's still not going to let him get down. And a lovely start by Ryan Taylor Truman as well, to take him back up through the field. He looks like he's laying in 3rd place at the moment, but he has a little look for 2nd. As they go through, that time round, Jensen by Connor to Ryan, to Tom, to Will, to Zachary. They start to spread out now as they go down to the hairpin for the next time of asking. Jensen is just starting to pull a little lead out here. He's looking to get away from the pack nice and quickly. There's a contact warning for at the hairpin for kart 57, Tom Adams, Will Uphill, and for Zachary. So be interesting to see how they respond to that one. The obviously all getting a little bit tight down there at the hairpin, where it's still rather slippery. Jensen Watts still pulling out a nice little lead Zachary has obviously had a big moment there at some point and must have just caught the tail end of that one, which has dropped him quite a way back from the main pack. But obviously with a long final there is still time to make up that gap. As Jensen leads them back through the S's, Connor, Ryan and Tom will be looking to find a way to get past. But unfortunately yellow flags at the moment as the tyre wall's being rebuilt down there at hairpin. There's no overtaking, so I'm sure they will all try to capitalise that as they come out of that sector. And Tom's starting to have a little look round. Yes, he does. He's got past Ryan on that lap, just coming out the top corner. Obviously got a little bit more grip as he made his way off that corner to get a nice little slingshot past him coming down the main straight. Now he's got Connor in front of him that he's got to eye up for see how well he can draw him in. The lap times at the moment still obviously looking not on the fastest side because of the wet conditions out there. But obviously it's going to give us some great racing across this afternoon with that slightly trickier damp conditions out there. And at the moment, yep, Jensen is still maintaining a nice 1 second lead over Connor, who has then got Tom Adams about half a second behind him. So it is all very much gonna still to be played for towards the end with 9 minutes to go. Anything can happen. As they come back through the right hander now, Tom Adams just gently pulling away. It's a bit of a yo-yo effect going on up there between him and Ryan. It'll be interesting to see how this one plays out later on in the race. And still chasing down Tyrant is still trying to chase down Will uphill as well, so it is looking nice for the novice there. He's obviously been watching and learning as the day's been going on as well to see where any little chinks in the armour might be. So be interested to see how his day finishes up at the end of this final. See how far he can pull his way through. So go back past me now. That gap has shrunk. Connor has obviously decided he's found a little bit more speed somewhere, knocking 0.4 of a second out of Jensen Watts on that last lap. He is starting to reel him in nicely as they head down towards the hairpin. Then behind him you've got Tom Adams and Ryan, who are about equally spaced at the moment. There's about half a second gap between them in relation to the two sort of packs. But it's starting to look rather interesting towards the front as Jensen, who had pulled a nice little lead out, is slowly being reeled in there by Connor. And another 10th. There's down to 3 tenths the gap between those two now, as the track is slowly starting to look like it's appearing not dry but not a wet line either. So obviously hopefully the weather stays on our side for this one. So the leaders make their way through the horseshoe again. He's slowly looking, trying to find a little bit more speed there is Connor. So it's going to turn into a nice little battle. There is still 6 minutes, just over 7 minutes to go on this race. And he finds another 10th. So that's 0.15 of a second between first and second as they make their way down to the hairpin again. Is there going to be a little look? No, he's a bit too far back this time. But unfortunately, Jensen's going to have to start defending as well, which will probably start to slow him up a fraction. So they are pretty much, on some parts of the circuit, nose to tail out there, which in these tricky conditions isn't easy. Quick wipe of the visor there by the 59 kart as he gets a little bit of spray up from the leader, but he's still maintaining that gap nicely. He lost a tenth that lap, but he is running a lot closer, so it's probably not the easiest of jobs to be doing at the moment. Meanwhile, Adams is still in third, and Ryan Taylor Truman is still in fourth. Will Uphill is in fifth. Make their way back off the top corner, and it's looking visibly a slightly larger gap this time around. But unfortunately for Jenson Watts, it's because Connor has gone past him. I didn't quite catch that. I was watching another battle starting to unfold a little bit further around the circuit. But now the leader is Connor from Jenson, from Tom, from Ryan, from Will. So let's see if Jenson can now go back onto his previous form, as the track isn't really drying too much more at the moment. Let's see if he can find a way of being able to draw that second place of his back towards a win. This time round, Connor is half a second in ahead of Jenson Watts on that lap. That's another 2 tenths he's extended his lead by, so who would have thought that little nice steady lead of Jenson Watts has been diminished and pulled away by Connor. 4 minutes to go now till the last lap board is going to be shown to these drivers when they come round. I don't think either of those two drivers want that flag to come out soon, because they've had a nice little battle all race long on this one. Jenson Watts takes 0.03 of a second out of Connor on that lap, so it's staying pretty steady out there now. The gap between those two on the just going on the last few lap times, so it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. Who's gone for what type of setup will play into this one. And that gap extends slightly more now, 7 tenths of a second, Connor from Jenson. And then slightly further down is Tom Adams. But on that last lap, Connor set a new fastest lap of the race on that one. So he's definitely found his conditions are favouring his style of driving or his setup that little bit more at the moment. 2.5 minutes to go. It's still pretty open. There's only 7 tenths of a second between the two drivers. So let's see how this one unfolds. That last time round, 8 tenths of a second between the two of them. Connor and Jenson both heading down in through the hairpin now, and there's 2 minutes to go in this race. The track is visibly starting to show a slightly drier racing line. It's not dry out there, but as I can see out the front of the commentary window here, down on the start straight there is visibly drier tarmac appearing, so wondering how those wet weather tyres are starting to hold out. The gap now between first and second, 1.1 seconds as they go into the next lap. Connor is definitely slowly pulling out a nice little steady lead with 1.5 minutes to go until the last lap board is shown. They make their way through the horseshoe, heading towards Buttons Bend, the right-hander, and the gap is visibly bigger. So at the moment, as it stands with just under a minute to go, it's Connor from Jensen Watts, from Tom Adams, from Ryan, from Will uphill, from Tyron, from Zachary. As it stands at the moment, unfortunately Zachary obviously had a bit of a moment somewhere earlier in the race and has lost a lot of time, but don't think it's going to affect the young driver. He will probably pick himself back up and just mark this one off as just a bit of a bad final. And the lead at the moment looking pretty steady. It's pretty static out there. Just looking where they are on the circuit now. I believe next time Connor comes around, he will see the last lap board. And behind him, Jensen, who had a nice little lead to start with. But unfortunately, it looks like he might have to settle for second on this occasion. But some very nice driving between the two of them. As they going round on those wet weather tyres, not liking it so much when it dries out. He sees the last lap board. Last lap, Connor from Jensen, from Tom, from Ryan, from Will. As he makes his way down to hairpin for the last time. 10th taken out from his lead by Jensen on that occasion. As they make their way up, Connor will be hoping and praying that it's going to stay nice and clean. He's only got another corner to go as he heads down past the pit lane. He's heading down towards past the new building, and he takes the win. Fist bumps galore as he takes his nice final victory. Connor from Jensen. Third place is Tom Adams. Fourth is Ryan, and a little way back, wait for him, and there goes Will uphill to take fifth. Tyron going into sixth, and Zachary Oates just making his way round to take the final position, but nice drive by the young gent nonetheless. And now we have our senior max race. We also have the regional championships amongst this bunch as well, so this could turn into a very nice race. The sunshine is now out. It's getting warmer in the commentary box as we speak, so hopefully that means the track will start to dry, although most of the drivers are still out on wet weather tyres, and I can't say as I blame them. It's still pretty damp in places out there. On pole position you have Peter Griffin. On second place you have Cole Edwards. Then Kieran Guilford on third position. David White on fourth. Harry Wood in fifth. Sam Morgan in sixth. Scott Rose on seventh. Marek Gig is in eighth. And then on to the first of our lady drivers, Jodie Newman in ninth. Oliver Holden in 10th. Alex Forshaw in 11th, Tom Martin on 12th, Alex Kite on 13th, Kieran Shanks on 14th, Eric Barker is on 15th, and Harriet Stiles in 16th, Gary Ford in 17th, Andy Ward is 18th on the grid, Amelia Vincent is 19th, Jasmine Norman is 20th on the grid, Callum is on 21st, and finishing them up is Tyler Trott as they make their way down to the acceleration line now. The lights go green, underway. There was a lovely start by the second place man as they make their way into the first corner, and it appears they have all got through nice and cleanly as they lead themselves through the S's. Peter Griffin maintains his earlier lead from pole, with Colin Edwards in second, as they all file their way nice and carefully through the damp hairpin. The leaders are making their way up towards the right-hand corner now, just of Buttons. And second, third, fourth, there's a nice little battle. I can't quite make out who it is from my position up here in the mid-pack. Nice little jostling for position as the leaders make their way back down past the start line into the bottom corner. Simon Morgan and Scott Ross having a nice little jostle, nice and cleanly done through the bottom corner there. So at the moment, after that first lap, it's Cole from Peter, from Kieran Guilford, from David, from Harry, from Samuel, from Scott, from Kieran Shakes, from Tom Martin. And Marek Gig is making up the top 10 at the moment, but obviously there is a lot of time still to play for this race. They come back through now. Cole Edwards making a nice little lead for himself, 7/10 that lap, but we've seen that one before, so I don't think he's going to count his chickens before they're hatched on this one with this amount of time to play. It looks like there's somebody off down the bottom there. I will try and find out who that was. A drop at the field just passes nice and cleanly past him though, no harm on that one. And that was the number 14 car, which is Harry Barker. It's not a bit unusual to see a driver like Harry make a bit of a mistake there, so obviously the damp conditions just catching him out. Cole Edwards still in the lead from Peter Giffen from Kieran, and then Harry is also catalysed on that lap from David from Samuel. So they're all starting to spread themselves out, find their own little piece of track and see where they can make up a place or two in this one, I believe. Everyone that was started is still nicely running on this one. There's a couple of spinners down on the bottom there onto the hairpin. One of them though, commentator's curse, sorry about that one, has now stopped. I can't see from this angle who it is. On this lap just passes us now, Cole from Peter, from Kieran, from Harry, from David. And I'll have a look and see if I can see who that was once the field have made their way past. And that is Marek Gig. Unfortunately, that's the end of the race for him. Sat down at the hairpin, wave yellows have flown for him. So no taken down there to for anybody at the moment. Making her way back off the top corner now is Cole Edward, Peter Griffin, having a nice steady race. 8.8 of a second between the two of them on that last run, so all still to play for. And the 33 cart, the 16 cart, and the 23 cart in the midfield there of Kieran and Oliver having a nice little battle going on over there. David White running for a mix. It's a big mix up now, and as they all start to make a few passes. Warning flag for Kieran Shanks in the cart 16. As it stands at the moment, Cole Edwards from Peter Griffin, from Kieran, from Harry, from Tom Martin, from Scott Rose, from Samuel Morgan, as they go through across the line for the 6th lap. There's still 8.5 to go on this one, so plenty of time for these drivers to find their moves. There's a nice little, it's getting tight for the drivers of the 42 and the 54 cart as they came through the horseshoe time. Everyone through nice and cleanly. The drivers are making their way through. Obviously, as they're stepping off of the normal racing line that's drying out, it's slightly slipperier than they realised. The lead now still Cole, 0.6 of a second from Peter Griffin. Another 3.7 seconds down to Kieran Griffin there. So the two of them just making it nice and comfortable, not fighting each other at all, but nicely pulling away as the rest of them try and scrap it out. Kieran and Harry Ward have a nice little battle shape up in that one. And Tom Martin and Samuel Morgan also nicely having a little bit of overtaking going on there. With also the 44 kart and the 16 kart looking like he's also going to start to try and claw back a bit as the 3 karts in front of him make each other a little bit of jostling going through the horseshoe that time for the karts, but nothing too untoward by the looks of it. Leaders make their way back out of the S's, going up towards the hairpin now, and the gap still pretty static at 0.7 second between Colin and Peter. But a slight gap back, and then you've got Kieran and Harry actually having a nice little look at each other. Can Harry get past Kieran on these few corners? It doesn't look like he can, but he's certainly eyeing him up for an overtake soon. Just the way he's having a little look here or there. Two of them come back past me, and no, not quite brave enough on the brakes on that occasion, but you don't win it all in one corner. 8 minutes to go of this final, and they are looking nicely spread out. There's quite a few little battles going on around the circuit. It's getting quite tricky to know where to look for the next overtake to happen. The leaders at the moment, or the positions at the moment as they stand, is Edwards from Peter Griffin and Kieran, from Harry, from Samuel, from Tom Martin, from Scott on that last lap. So there's a few little close ones. He's going to see how this one's going to pan out. The track still drying, so depends who not only fights the hardest, but who looks after them tyres for every little bit towards the end of this one. 5 minutes remain on the clock. Warning flag for the 98 kart. That is Scott Rose. Not quite sure where that hat was from, but obviously the Clark's not looking too favourable on the move. But warning, as long as he takes heed of it, should be all okay. As it looks like the 28 kart of Kieran is defending, just got back past. He lost the position from Harry on that part of that lap, and looks like Harry's still sticking with him as they come through the top corner. And can he look for a way down? As Harry has a little look, but no, not quite close enough this time round. Still maintaining Cole Edwards out in the front. 1.2 seconds now from Peter as they just come round, but there's one of the back markers, which is 26 of Jasmine Norman. So they're also seeing that David Ward is in the pits as well, so that's another misfortunate retirement from this race a little while ago. But Jasmine's been around a little while now, so she knows how to deal with it when the leaders start coming up. So a little way to go yet, though. There's still 3.5 minutes left of this final. And looking back down the pack, first and second are spread quite nicely, but it's all looks to be playing around with third and fourth. Kieran and Harry. Kieran just in the lead of Harry in front of Harry at the moment, shall I say, as they go through into the horseshoe. But they do keep swapping places every now and again, so just who has to be there at the right time when that flag flies. And there's a yellow flag It looks like, I'm not quite sure, it's down the bottom corner. There's a cart sat down there. The driver is okay. He's just a little stuck there on the lip of the circuit. So yellow flag's waving, no taking to the bottom of that of the circuit at the moment. But looks like, although he's lost time, he has got himself going again. And I will have a look as I can see, and it is Harry Barker again. That's the second time this race. He's made a little mistake going into the bottom corner, and it has cost him a lot of time. Currently now running last. Back to the front of the pack though, Colin Edwards from Peter Griffin, from Harold Ward, from Kieran. So Harry's made a little place up that time, and got past. Further down, Kieran Shanks looks like he's just overtaking Callum there. So a nice little move, and there is, at the moment, you have Kieran Callum and Jody Newman all nicely as a bunch together. So be interesting to see what happens there. Jody looks like she's just made a position on Callum as well. So maybe, is his tyres going off? Jody has now also got past Kieran as well, so that's a couple of places on that lap she's made up. She is now up into 10th. The top 10 are now with just over a minute to go. Peter from Cole Edwards, so Cole Edwards has dropped his lead now. There's only a 1/10 in it. Kieran from Harry, from Samuel, from Thomas, from Scott, from Oliver, from Alex, from Jody. So nice little drivings going on from those drivers out there at the moment. There's so many little battles going out there, it's difficult to keep track of where the lead is. And Peter Griffin goes past now with Cole Edwards 1 second behind him. And there is 15 seconds left on the clock as he makes his way through the S's. So he will be seeing the last lap board on this occasion. Did Cole go too hard on his wet wear dries as a drying track? As he comes round, making his way through the right-hander and the top end. On the top end, making his way down to see the last lap board. This time it is Peter Griffin from Cole Edwards from Kieran. So next time round for either Peter Griffin or Cole Edwards, it will be the checkered flag. 1.1 seconds between the two of them, so got to keep it nice and tidy for Peter Griffin and have a nice final win for today. As he makes his way through the top corner, this is looking nice and comfortable for Peter Griffin now, and he takes the checkered flag. It's Peter Griffin from Cole Edwards, from Kieran Gifford, from it's close, and as they go across the line, it is Peter Griffin, Cole Edwards, Jody Newman, Kieran Guilford, Harry Ward, Samuel Morgan, Tom Martin, Oliver Holden, Alex Kite, Scott Rose, Kieran Shakes, Callum Hartridge, Alex Forshaw, Harriet Stiles, Andy Ward, Amelia Vincent, Tyler Trotter, Gary Fordham, Jasmine Norman and Harry Barker. Unfortunately, a couple of time it serves well for David White and Marek Gidd, but hopefully that hasn't disheartened too much and we will see them back here at the next round. Okay, next up on the circuit is Miami Cadet Final. You have Alex on pole, Tom in second, Leo in third, Bradley in fourth, Cameron in fifth, Daniel in sixth, Kieran Roberts in seventh, Liam Smith in eighth, and in ninth is Aaron Walker. So Marshall slow them down to bunch them up there, just leading them into the horseshoe. Make sure they're nicely formed up for the start of this race. Can't quite see which tyre choice they've gone for this one, but there's definitely a dry line. So be interesting to see if anyone has taken a bit of a gamble either way on this one. There doesn't appear to be too many dark clouds over the circuit. It's a bit overcast, but we will find out shortly. They make their way down to the acceleration line and the lights go green. They are underway. And Alex is in lead. There is a spinner. All the rest of the pack get past nice and cleanly. I think that may have been the second place man on the grid, Tom. Yeah, it was Thomas Brown. He had a little spin there that has cost him a reasonable bit, but there's still plenty of time. These are 13-minute finals, so there's lots of time. Only a few people need to make a little bit of mistake here or there, and it can soon claw back that time. And he is, I believe, a little experienced driver out here, so he should be able to cope with this pretty fine. At the moment, as they go across the line first, it's Alex. There's a screen update from Leo, from Cameron, from Daniel, from Bradley, from Liam, from Aaron, from Kieran, and then Thomas bringing up the rear of the pack. So make their way down to the hairpin now. The leader is pulling a nice little lead out here. 1.6 seconds last time across the line. It looks like he might have gone for a bit more of a dry setup as he a little bit of leap of the curbs there on the first part of the hairpin, but all fine. It's looking like he's going for it. As first, second and third are quite well spread. There's a nice little battle going on right behind them for 5th, 6th and 7th as we see them go past at the moment. And that is a group of novices as well. There is only, out of the 9 entries, 3 that are not on their novice place. So nice to see the novices out there getting some running. Get their signatures and move up in their racing careers. And there is a nice little pass there by, or defending the passing by Daniel Fawn and Bradley Scott. And that is for 4th and 5th. So it does show, it doesn't matter how far down the field you are, there is still plenty of nice racing going on for you. And just onto the grass goes the first 2, Bradley Scott, but he gets it back on and keeps going nice and cleanly as they head back down through the bottom corner now. The leader pulling out a gap of 2.7 seconds. That's quite a margin for these young lads and lasses to be able to pull out. They're pretty equal on weight and power, so there's not much to play with it. At the moment you've got Alex from Leo, from Cameron, from Daniel, from Bradley. Liam Smith is in 6th, Aaron Walker is in 7th, and Thomas Brand is in 8th, and Kieran Roberts is in 9th at the moment. And Thomas and Kieran just swapping places on that last time around, so to see how that one shapes up. And looking, just sitting patiently at the moment by the looks of it, just to have a see where any little weak spots are in the other driver's line. There's a nice dry line running around most of the circuit by the looks of it now. There's a few places I just can't see, but it is looking nice and dry out there for these drivers to be able to just find a little bit of time here or there, a little bit of space just to gently overtake the other drivers. There's a mechanical flag out for number 22 of Aaron Walker. Can't quite see at the moment myself what the issue of that one is. I'll try and have a look and see if I can spot it. If he's still making manoeuvres, he should, if the flag's gone out, he should come in relatively soon. Now, meanwhile, out in the lead, Alex is running at the moment 4.8 seconds ahead of Leo. So a nice size of margin there, and it's another 3.3 seconds back to the third place man. Then another big jump of 6 seconds, but then the next group are only separated by about a second and a half. So not a lot of time when you consider you've got 5 karts in that space. There's still 8 minutes left of this final. The novices all starting to have a little bit of a look here and there. Going to the top corner, and it looks like we have a pass between the kart 71 of Tom Brand and Harry Walker, who I believe had a mechanical flag, if I'm not mistaken. So unless that has not... 22, I'm being informed, 22 is black, is ignoring the black, is getting a black flag for ignoring the mechanical. So obviously, although he's a novice, the rules are still the same. You see that mechanical, you have to go back into the pit lane. The clerks put it out for safety. So you have to make your way back in there. Out the front though, 6.3 second lead for Alex there over Leo, who's then got Cameron and Daniel behind him, and then Bradley, Liam, Thomas. Aaron Walker, who's obviously got that black flag, is in 8th, and Kieran Roberts is just gone up past him and gone up into 8th. And it looks like he now knows he's got to go back in his hand. 22 kart has got his hand up in the air, so all the other drivers know he will be travelling slowly around the circuit to make his way back down to the pit lane. There is 6.5 minutes left of this race to go, so all still time to play for. There's still that nice little mid-range, mid-place battle, or grid battle for between the 25, 32 and 26 kart, and I believe 71's in a mix there somewhere as well. Yeah, he's just made a nice little couple of places up coming through the S's, bottom corner in the S's, but can he hold on to it going through the hairpin? He can. The track is very much a drier circuit now, so it's looking good. Aaron Walker is now in the pits, so the lead at the moment, it's the positions are Alex King from Leo Push to Cameron to Daniel Vaughan to Thomas Brand, from Bradley Scott, sorry, from Sam Smith and Kieran Roberts. The lead now is at 8 seconds, so I think Alex is just gently trying to hold this position nice and far away from the second place man as he can. Looks like he might have taken another half a second or so out of the second, or pulled away from the second place man, should I say. So it looks very comfortable for him at the moment, barring any problems. Don't want to jinx him on this one, but it's looking good for young Alex. Leo and Cameron, Daniel from Thomas, from Bradley, from Liam, from Kieran. And Kieran Roberts doing a very nice little job there, just letting the leader pass, just actually indicating to him he knows he's there and he's going to let him pass. So good job on that driver, good thinking, nice to see. Even though you're not up there with the others, you're not holding them up, you're just letting them find their own way past and get on with it. So Kieran now 10.4 seconds ahead of Leo. So there's a nice big chunk, and they're still battling it out for their mid-place positions of 4th, 5th and 6th and 7th. They are all still within a little bit of each other. There's the 71 car is pulling out a bit more of a lead now over the 5th place and the 6th place drivers, but they're still within a chance. There's 3 minutes to go this one, so and the track is virtually bone dry. And the 32 driver Bradley Scott in 6th place is just having a little look here and there at Daniel Thorne for trying to find a little way past him here and there as he comes down to the bottom corner. They're going up to the hairpin now. The gap is spread back out, but it does have a bit of a yo-yo effect. It's one driver obviously slows slightly before the other, and the 32 car is looking round on the inside coming out of the horseshoe as they come up round the right hander. He's still in the same position, but he's still looking for little places to get past, and the looking like the driver 26 Liam Smith is also looking to see what's going on in front of him. If the gap opens up or a little bit of movement and the other driver makes a mistake, there might be a chance for him just to nip on past it without having to line it up too much to start with. Especially if they start to hold themselves up as they try and pass. The 32 driver, Bradley Scott, just having a look every time he comes round the horseshoe. He tries to have a little look up the inside of David Vaughan. I think Liam Smith is also noticing this, and they gently tuck it in, taking slightly different lines to each other as they come through the kink down to the bottom corner, and Liam is now definitely a little bit closer than he was before to the two in front of him through the mid-pack go. Meanwhile, out front, Alex Keane is 13.7 seconds ahead of the second place driver Leo. So he's setting another quick laps. He's also holding the fastest lap of the race at the moment of a 42.1, which is not the driest of conditions all day long. So it's nice to see the driver still setting nice, quick, but consistent lap times out there. As the leaders nicely go through again. It'd be interesting to see how far down the road. There is 10 seconds to go, so next time Alex comes round to the start finish line, he will probably see that last lap board going out, and he knows he's only got another half a mile to drive and to have a final victory here at Clay. 15 seconds was the gap last time they were all out the lead. Can he make it even bigger the time he comes round to the finish? As he's making his way down past it now, he does. Alex sees the last lap board, gives a little nod to the start finisher to acknowledge he's seen it, and just carries on nice and gently, keeping it clean and tidy as he goes. He's ahead of all of the rest of the field pretty much on traffic, so there's no one going to hold him up on this one. There's now 15.6 seconds between first and second. He makes his way, Alex is making his way now through the right-hander into the top bend. He's only got this top corner to go as he's coming down past the pit straight, past the pit lane. He comes down, Nice little finger wave as he sort of puts signals to the finisher. He's seen nice victory there by Alex. Waiting now for Leo, coming out of the top corner now. Comes down. Leo takes second. The end of that one, 16.5 seconds between first and second. Very nice driving there, Alex. And very good driving from the rest of the field as well. They've had a long day of mixed conditions. So nice to see the young drivers out there, especially a lot of novices, learning how to drive and race. So in the end, it was Alex from Leo, from Cameron, from Thomas, from Daniel, from Bradley, from Liam, from Kieran. .177, and also don't forget the Masters as well in that one. So nice to see, from being some of the youngest drivers out there to some of the more mature, shall we say, drivers out there enjoying themselves. The sun is now very much out in the sky, and the track is going to be nice and dry, so I can only assume most of these drivers will be on slicks. On the front row you have Colin Davis from Julian Howe, Gary Anderson from Daniel Martin, Joe is in 15th, Michael is in 16th, Josh Brooks is in 7th, Gary Cox is in 8th, 9th is Jamie, Lee Hodge is in 10th, Dean Mann is in 11th, Simon Glover is 12th. So making their way down past the pit lane, nice and gently, all packed up in nice formation, ready to take this start. And the lights are green, they are underway for their final. And it's nice and tight as they all pass their way cleanly through the bottom corner, through the S's. Who's going to come on top? Looks like Daniel Martin is in the lead. They make their way down to the hairpin there. So the nice start there from 4th on the grid to up into 1st at the moment, with Colin Davis sat behind him, and I believe that might be Julian Howe somewhere in amongst her as well. It's a bit difficult to tell. The sun now out in clay and bouncing off the glass. So yes, it is Daniel Martin from Colin Davis, from Julian Howe, from Gary, from Joe, from Michael, from Josh Brooks, as they all make their way back through the bottom part of the circuit. And yes, he's nice and cleanly again. And Daniel Martin has had his place taken away. There's a hand up there. Looks like someone's mechanical. Daniel Martin is on the grass, but makes it back onto the tarmac. I can't quite see from this angle. And oh no, Julian Howe has a problem. It looks like he's got a mechanical problem. He's now stopped on the grass between the marshal posts on the horseshoe there. It's fortunate for me as they go back across the line. It is Gary Anderson, from Michael, from Josh, from Gary, from Joe, from Lee Hodge and Jamie and Colin Davis. Steve Nash is up into 4th. Steve's looking like he's going to have a nice drive as well. Where did he start? He started from 16th on the grid, so he's had a good few laps. Nice to see Steve Nash making his way nice and cleanly through the pack. And unfortunately, it looks like a little way back now for Daniel Martin. Last time round he was in 12th. Where is he now? He is in 10th position this time round, so he's clawing back places. Him and Steve Nash are fighting it out. Steve Nash has had a slight moment as he got overtaken through the S's there, but looks like everyone's got nice and cleanly round. So Gary from Michael, from Josh Brooks, from Gary Cox, from Colin on that last lap round. Let's see how this one plays out. There's a nice size grid out of them out there today, and they all want victory. There's Josh Brooks goes past the window in first position. In the 17 kart, Michael in kart 50 and Gary in kart 96. There is only 2.5 seconds separating the top 7, so this could get very spicy as they all make their way down through the hairpin and then up into the horseshoe, all nice cleanly line astern as they make their way through. And it looks like Daniel Martin has now also made his way through up to 8th place, so he is definitely on a charge for this one today. He is not happy about sitting down in the back lines. He wants victory or nothing. He is making a move. There's yellow flags waving. I can't quite see past the motorhomes for what, but there looks like there might be a tyre wall rebuild down the bottom. I'm not sure if someone went off down now or not, but it appears everyone is still circulating around the track. Tyre wall rebuild, and there's also coming through, there's a warning for the 27 driver, Dean Mann. So he's just got to make it a little bit cleaner to keep everybody else happier. Past the window that time, it was Michael in kart 50, Josh Brooks in 17, Colin Davis in 71, Gary Anderson in 92, as they all make their way back up. Daniel Martin is in 6th now, so he's clawing his way back. Bear in mind, he did start in 4th on the grid, and he did have a bit of a grassy moment at one point. He might want to clean that kart off afterwards. Unfortunately, we've got S. Winters, I'm seeing Sam Winters in the 77 kart. He's in the pit lane a while ago, so I see he had a bit of a problem as well. And Julian Howes is out the start. Only 2 drivers that are not now still competing out of the 21 starters. A lot of these drivers are either racing for the club championship or they're also racing for the regional championship. So there's a lot on stake on today's race, and they all look very, very up for a good battle. Michael in the kart 50 kart is last time round was 0.4. Let's see what it is as he comes past the window now. Which way is it going for you, sir? It is getting slightly smaller, but only by 100th of a second that time round, so they are all still nicely. And you've got Daniel Martin now up into 4th, so he's making a bit. So it's Michael from Colin, from Josh, from Daniel, from Gary Anderson, from Gary Cox, Dan Rich and Steve James, and Simon Glover. Steve Nash is up 2 places on that last lap by looks of it, up to 10th. Tim James up in 11th, and Sean Defoe in car 24 is 12th position. And the top 6 are separated by 2.3 seconds. There's blue flags waving for the 29 kart of Joe. So he knows the pack are coming up behind him, and I'm sure he really does not want to go in the way of this lot behind him. And Colin Davis makes a move up. He makes one move up onto from Michael. From Daniel Martin has now made his way up to 3rd. Josh Brooks in 4th. Gary Anderson, Gary is in 5th, and Gary Cox in 6th. And there is still 6.5 minutes remaining of this race. So a nice long battle between these drivers for this one. And Gary Cox starting to have a look as well at Gary Anderson as they go through the S's, the 2 of them. But, there's a margin between them, but they still have a look as Gary Cox had a little look there. but not quite enough. It wasn't quite close enough that time round for him, and that is for 5th and 6th position. Moving down quite considerably down the field, Sean Defoe has dropped 5 positions. He's down in 16th now, so a nice little gap between them, and between 12th and 15th there is only about 2 seconds between a lot of them. Colin Davis has still got Daniel Martin behind him. That's the 1st and 2nd. That's last time across the line, that was 0.8 of a second. So Daniel Martin is looking very eager for this win. Behind him is the kart 50 of Michael. Josh is in 17th. And Sean Defoe and Steve James are both out of this one as well. In the pit lane as well is Lee Hodge in the 58 kart. So unfortunately for those gents, the race is either out or over and done with. Meanwhile, back out on the circuit itself, I can see there must have been some either... No, I think they've just had a mechanical. So Colin Davis from Daniel Martin that time round, 0.8 of a 5 of a second, so they're still pretty close out there as they make their way through the hairpin, through the horseshoe. The kart 50 of Michael is also not giving up, although there's nice little equal space in between them, and there's still 4 minutes of this race remaining. And Steve Nash pulls off the circuit, rejoins again, not quite sure if he had a moment. In the 39 kart, that was between the hairpin and the horseshoe. So obviously Steve Nash pushing slightly too hard maybe in these conditions. But still enjoying himself nonetheless, I'd imagine. Colin Davis is in the lead at the moment still. 0.6 of a second now between him and Daniel Martin. And it's still pretty static as they go past us now. They are going through the S's. It does look like Daniel Martin is on a little bit of charge. There's not a lot in it. It's only hundredths of a second here or there, but that's all it needs with the about 3 minutes remaining until the last lap board goes out. Then another lap to set this one well and truly into a great race for the both of them. And they are now pulling themselves away from the 3rd place and the rest of the pack to give themselves a little bit of room so they can scrap it out but not then start losing places. They're also starting to catch some of the back markers a bit more as well. There's only one of the runners has been overtaken by the leader so far, but we hopefully everyone will keep racing nice and hard but not get in the way of these leaders, because I've got a feeling this one's going to shape up to be a bit of a nice one between these two. And that lap, Colin Davis drops another 10th of a second to Daniel Martin. So there's only 0.4 of a second between the two of them as they make their way out the S's down to the hairpin. Daniel has not really has a look, but edges his way closer. That's even closer now as he's starting to make his way up through the horseshoe. All he's got to do is find a little bit of a gap and he might make his way past, and he is now catching one of the back markers. So hopefully that driver is well aware they're coming through, because I don't think anyone would want to slow down on that one. Daniel Martin even closer to the back as they make their way through the S's. Can he have a cheeky little look as he goes down? The blue flag's away for the back marker. He's not quite enough. There was not enough room there for him to get past and past the back marker nice and cleanly. But he's getting within biting distance of the leader, Colin Davis. So we'll see how this one pans out with 57 seconds to go before the last lap board goes out. There's going to be probably another couple of laps, I'd imagine, between these two drivers. And Daniel Martin has a look, gently goes out wider and tries to have a look. Not quite enough room. Colin Davis nicely just shuts the door nice and cleanly on him there. Unfortunately, it slowed down up a little bit before he gets on the way back down to the hairpin again. So at the moment it's Colin Davis from Daniel Martin, from Michael, from Josh Brooks, from Gary Cox, from Gary Anderson, Darren Rick, Steve Glover, Steve Nash is in 9th, Tim James is in 10th. And I'm just seeing, it looks like there is 10 seconds ago and they're just going up the back straight. So I'd imagine the leaders will see the last lap board this time round, and it's looking a bit closer. Not quite as close as it has done, but Daniel Martin, he's got another half mile to do it after he goes across his start line, so it could shape up to be a nice little finish for the two of them. Here comes Colin and Daniel, go past the start line now, see the last lap board held up by the start finisher. And Daniel Martin makes his way past the leader, up the inside, through the bottom, and keeps it going through the S's. So it's now out circuit. Daniel Martin from Colin Davis. As they make their way through the hairpin, Daniel keeps it nice and tight, not in any room. Keeps it nice and tight between him and the other driver on the horseshoe. There is only 2 corners to go. He's still got it through the right-hander. Can he maintain it at that crucial top bend and get enough of a drive? It is Daniel Martin. Will he? Yes, he does! He takes the victory from Colin Davis. Just waiting for the screen to update now. Yes, it has. And it is Daniel Martin by 0.9 of a second from Colin Davis, from Michael, from Josh Brooks, from Gary Cox, from Gary Anderson, from Darren Rich, from Simon Glover, from Steve Nash in 9th. Nice little victory there for your own right there, Steve, after you had a little moment on the grass. And Tim James, Rob Prince, Dean Mann, Jamie and Samuel Dick, which is Steve Nash's nephew, I believe. So another one of the family traits coming through. Down there in 14th, although he's still a novice, so plenty of time to go. Martin Howe and Joe bring up the rest. And Sean Defoe. And next out on the circuit we have Senior TKM. On pole is Ollie Nick Smith. Second on the grid is Alex Tyler. Third on the grid is Derek Hunt, and William Davis is in 4th. So although there's not a lot of them out there, it still could be quite a nice little race, this one. There's some experienced names in this one, I think. And they're underway. And Alex Tyler has a nice little start and jumps straight into the lead time they get down to the bottom corner. Nicely past Oliver there. and it's brought out then by Derek Hunt, and then Will Davis is just behind him. But it looks like it, Oliver's not having any of it. He's straight back into the lead as they go through the horseshoe. I know he's not. He didn't quite make it on that occasion. He's still sat there in second. So as they come down, take the first lap, it is Alex from Oliver, from Derek, from William. As they make their way through the S's, Oliver is now back past Alex Tyler. As they make their way down into the hairpin, Alex has a little bit of luck, but not quite close enough. Oliver has a little quick look over his shoulder just to make sure he knows where Alex is on that one. Still nicely fighting it, the four of them all reasonably close together. So they make their way back down to the start line. It's Alex, almost side by side for Alex and Oliver. Unfortunately for Alex though, Oliver is still out in the lead as they make their way through the S's, leaping the curbs nicely. Derek is having a little bit of a look, see if he can find his way past Alex next time he makes a move, I wonder. So could be a bit interesting on that front. As they make their way up across the old finish line, round the top corner, who can get a better drive off the top? The three of them pretty much line astern as they come across the start line. It's still Oliver from Alex, from Derek. Slightly further back, Alex makes a nice little move, can't quite hold it still. Has that let Derek through? Yes, it has. Derek is back up into, is now up into second. Oliver's first, Derek's second at the moment, with Alex just sat behind him. Maybe a bit of a younger head on them shoulders, just going a little bit too eager for that one at the moment. Over 10.5 minutes to go of this race, so still plenty of time for them both to have a little bit of a battle going on. At the moment, it is Oliver over Derek. Derek comes up the inside. He just about gets past. They just touch very slightly, but nothing out untowards. It is still Oliver just in front of Derek, with Alex behind him and William following up behind. So they make their way down. Alex goes to have a little move, but thinks twice about it and moves back wide again to take the normal line through the hairpin. As they make their way up through the right hander, it's Oliver with Derek nicely sat behind him and Alex Tyler sat in third, with William Davis sat just behind him. Derek goes to go round the outside of Keaton this time. No room for him there. They both make it round to the bottom corner. Nicely driven, gents. Through the S's they go. And Oliver is nicely in front of Derek. And is Alex going to move? No, he doesn't quite make a move there on Derek Hunt. And oh no! Disaster. They interlock wheels. Not quite sure what happened, but that has let Alex into the league and William Davis then to be in second. That is Oliver Smith and, by the looks of it, Derek Hunt, both out of this race. So there are two remaining in the what originally started off as a four-cart grid is now a two. Yellow flags are waving at post 4 as the drivers clear their cart. Both drivers, I am pleased to say, are walking around nice and happily, having a little bit of a natter to maybe have a chat about the idea, but they are both fine. So meanwhile, Alex is just gently pulling away from William Davis. Derek Hunt, meanwhile, is now trying to get his cart going again, and by the looks of it, Oliver Smith is also, they might be a lap down, but there is personal pride in this one, and Oliver Smith gets going again. Unfortunately, Derek is now stood just by Marshall Post 5, taking his helmet off, so he's just going to watch the youngsters have a bit of a battle out here, I think, for the rest of the race. But we know we'll be back again. So Alex Tyler is now currently leading from William Davis and Oliver Smith, who is currently a lap down. Now this might not be a big red, but it's nevertheless challenging. You've still got to make it to the finish. There's still 7 and a 3/4 minutes left to that last lap ball comes out. It's Alex Tyler from William Davis as they go through horseshoe. Meanwhile, Ollie Nick Smith is trying to play catch up as he goes through the bottom corner circuit, heads towards the S's as the other two drivers may come out of the top corner to come down towards the start finish line. Gap that time 1.2 seconds for Alex Tyler over William Davis. And Alex Tyler crosses the start-finish line then for another lap. What is the gap to an in? He pulls out another about 0.3 of a second or so on William there, but he's still got to get to the end. We have seen this before, haven't we, where drivers pull out a bit of a lead and then it all starts to change around again. So don't want to jinx you there, Alex, but keep building that lead, mate. At the moment, the lap times, the fastest lap at the moment is going to Alex Tyler for the moment, and that was a 36.6 seconds. But the rest of the drivers all still around about a similar sort of time, so there's only a few tenths who are there each lap between the two drivers, or the three drivers now. I think Derek's going to kindly ask one of the track maintenance guys if he can give him a bit of a lift for that trolley. I don't expect him to try and lift it all up on his own, but meanwhile Alex is coming around to complete another lap. He has now gone over the line, followed by Will Davis, and that is now 2.4 seconds, so he must be listening there. It must just about be able to hear something inside his helmet saying, I've got to get far away. The sky's starting to darken up. Hopefully it holds bay before the end of this final, because they are all on slick, so that could get rather interesting, shall we say. And unfortunately Oliver back into the Nick Smith back into the pits. He's obviously decided to save it for another day, as he was about a lap and a half down at the time, so it just leaves young Alex and William to do battle for this one for the top spots. 3 seconds last time around was the lead for Alex Tyler. And everyone give Derek a big cheer for still going out and doing it. He comes up every club meeting, is always out there. So I'm sure he will enjoy your appreciation of watching him out there while he was out there. Meanwhile, back on track, Alex Tyler and William Davis are both still going for it. Last time round, 3.4 seconds, so about 0.4 of a second it appears, but each lap for Alex Tyler just to pull away from William Davis in the 89 kart there. As always, you can still follow us on Twitter and on Facebook as usual. We are also now live streaming on YouTube, so when Sam, our usual commentator, is hopefully back off his holidays, we will have his commentary all up to date. So even if you're not here on a weekend, you can still follow all the action as well as on the live timing brought to you by Alpha. Meanwhile, still Alex Tyler is out in the lead. He is currently 4.3 seconds ahead of William Davis. They can almost probably see each other as Alex comes out of the hairpin and William goes into the hairpin. So they both know where each other are on the track. It's just time to see who can do what about it. 2.5 minutes remaining on this one. And it's even further away now for Alex. It's a 4.8 seconds gap between him and William Davis. 2 minutes remaining before the last lap board comes out on this one. And then after that, we have our Junior Max final. And I'm sure that one is going to get quite interesting as well. I wonder what the weather will do. I'm sure the drivers are also saying exactly the same thing as they stood there on the grid. The lead extended now to 5.2 seconds by Alex Tyler. William Davis, still though, he's still out there, he's still pushing away, plugging away, trying to find it, but it's looked pretty dominant since Derek Hunt and Oliver Smith ended their race. It's been looking pretty dominant by Alex for this one. And just over a minute to go. Alex making his way out of the S's, heading up for another lap towards the hairpin. And that was 5.7 seconds that time. There's 50 seconds left clock as Alex comes out of the top corner, so he's going to get probably another lap or so before he sees that last lap board. So still not signed, sealed and delivered, so to speak. William Davis is still plodding along. He's just brought the gap back down. It's 6 seconds, pretty much dead now for that. 28 seconds to go. I don't think it's going to be this time. I feel sure Alex might get through one more time. So he's going to have to do this lap and probably another by the looks of it. 12 seconds to go for that last lap board comes out and he makes it through. So next time he comes around, he will see that last lap board, I'd imagine. As he makes his way through the S's, I can see the start finisher ready in the last lap board for us. Jock doing a lovely job down there this weekend. As Alex Tyler comes out of the top corner, makes his way down the pit lane straight. He sees that last lap board and thinks just a half a mile to go and this is mine. And Will Davis also crosses the line now to see that last lap board, so he knows it's not long now. As Alex Tyler, he makes his way through the right-hander, heading up past the marshal post into the top corner for the final time. He heads down the start, finish straight. The fingers waving, the arms pumping. He's happy. Win for Alex Tyler at Clay. William Davis, brilliant job, mate. Good driving. And to Oliver and Derek, look forward to seeing you both next month. And our kind marshal, Puggy, has just pointed out it is now just started to spit with rain on the bottom part of the circuit. So let's just see how this one goes. It's going to be interesting to see how the weather plays out for our last final of the day, which is Junior Max. Okay, they make their Junior Max have now made their way out onto the circuit with Tommy Foster on pole, Bradley Shepherd in second place on the grid. Ryan is on, Luscombe is on third on the grid. Oakley Pride is fourth on the grid. Harry Wilson Brown is fifth on the grid. Tommy Spottiswood, is sixth on the grid. Angus Fry is on seventh on the grid. Lucas Bright is on 8th on the grid. Bradley Watts is 9th on the grid. Harvey McLean is on 10th on the grid. Michael Goodburn is on 11th. And Bradley Horsham is on 12th on the grid. So there's 12 of them out there. It's all still to play for. And there is a little spits of rain on this commentary box window. So I wonder which tyres they got on. They're making their way down to acceleration line now. Tommy nicely bunching them up. And the lights are go green. And off they go. And oh no. There's Tommy Foster. Spins with Bradley Shepherd. Looks like he's gone across the grass. I believe it's Bradley Shepherd. I'll have a look as the rest of the pack make their way through. Oakley Pryor currently now in lead as they go down towards the hairpin. And yes, it was. It was Tommy Foster and Bradley Shepherd both onto the grass. So, not quite 100% sure what happened there, but I'm sure we will find out in due course. Meanwhile, it's the 99 kart now of Ryan that I believe is in the lead. So not quite sure. I believe it might be the weather playing its course on this one. So 99 kart, 5x11 kart and a 66 kart. And it is very slippery down there. 11 kart just slightly getting on the grass, but he managed to hold his position for second place, and that was Tommy Spottiswood. So across the line that time it was Ryan from Tommy Spottiswood, from Oakley Pryor, from Harry Wilson Brown, from Angus Fry. As they make their way through the right-hander now. So it's the 99 kart of Ryan coming through and the 11 kart of Tommy, with Oakley Pryor shortly following behind him, with Harry Wilson Brown nicely close behind him. This looks very slippery down the bottom now of the circuit. Everyone nicely jostling for position as well as trying to make places up, but keep it all nice under control. And it's the 99 kart from the 11 kart from Oakley Pryor and Harry Wilson, Angus Fry from Harris Wilson Brown on that last lap. All the drivers nicely making their way round, and it looks like Tommy Foster and Bradley Shepherd are slowly clawing their way back through the field from where they started at the front row of before the beginning of this final. And it's a 99 kart of Ryan from the 11 kart of Tommy. Oakley Pryor in third. Hay Wilson Brown has moved himself up position into fourth. Angus Fry has obviously dropped down one into fifth. Lucas Bright is now in sixth, and Tommy Foster is in seventh, moving himself back up seventh. Bradley Shepherd on that last lap, moving himself up 2 places, back up into ninth. So I believe he is quite an experienced driver out there, so he should know how to handle these changeable conditions out on slicks. They should fight their way back through. Ryan makes his way back up towards the hairpin. He's been nicely chased down by the 11 kart of Tommy, and Oakley Pryor is sitting gently in third, and he's keeping a bit of an eye out there to see what's going on. around him, but he hasn't got anything to worry about at the moment. The three of them are pulling a nice little gap on to fourth place of Harry Wilson Brown and Angus Fry and Tommy Foster. Bradley Shepherd makes his way up another place that lap, up into 8th. So he's definitely making a bit of a move, and if the 4 karts that are in front of him start to have a little bit of a scrap, that might leave it a little bit more easier and open for him, as long as he doesn't get caught up in anything. Meanwhile, further down the grid, Bradley Watts, who is a novice, and Michael Goodburn. Nice to see you gents out there. With Ryan now going past 1.1 second lead over Tommy in kart 11, followed by Oakley in number 66 and Harry Wilson Brown in the 27 kart. And Tommy Foster, I believe, is just making a little move on the 2 clay karts of Oakley Pryor, but he's got past Harry Wilson Brown and Oakley Pryor on that last lap in the hairpin through the horseshoe part. So he's going to plan on trying to pull away from them 2 young drivers pretty quickly. Saying that, Tommy Foster is no stranger to clay himself, so he should be able to manage these conditions. Ryan still out front with a 1.1 second lead over Tommy, who's in the kart 11, followed by Oakley Pryor the last time round and Tommy Foster. So Oakley's obviously made himself up a little bit there, so I believe it's Angus Fry he overtook on the lap before, Harry Wilson Brown on the previous one. So do apologise, Oakley, for saying you've been overtaken when you hadn't. But the 3 of them still gently, nice gap between them and Tommy Foster, but I'm pretty sure there's a little bit of a margin being drawn back possibly by young Foster. So last time round, Ryan in the 99 kart leading Tommy from Oakley, from Tommy Foster, Angus Fry and Bradley Shepherd. So he's made himself up another place up in 6th. The number 12 kart of Michael Goodburn has just had a spin. He sat just off of the rumble strip there. He's okay, he's getting out the kart, but obviously he wants to get himself out of the way before the leaders come through. 99 kart of Ryan is just making its way through the bottom corner now as the flag waves from the second marshal post to let him know. The slippery surface flag is out at the moment to let down the bottom circuit to let the drivers know it is very changeable down there. So I don't think we've seen the last of the liveliness of this race. It's definitely not a signed, sealed, delivered moment on this, because the rain is now coming down a little bit harder, and these drivers are all, I believe, out on slicks. This time round, Ryan comes past a 1.6 second gap from Tommy Foster. So Tommy Foster's now managed to get back. Luca Bright in 4th, Angus Fry, Harry Wilson Brown, Oakley Pryor is now in the pit lane. So not a great one. Bradley Shepherd now back down 6 places for a little while, down to he's now last, so not quite sure who is. It's getting a bit difficult, to be honest, to be able to see out the front of the commentary window. There's that much water on it. Bradley Shepherd is off. He is sat currently just down by the S's. That's not the first time we've seen him down today. I think it looks like he's just had a little bit of an issue with the water level down there. Even the rest of the field make their way gently past him. it is now Ryan from Tommy Foster, from Tommy Spottiswood, from Lucas Bright, from Angus Fry, from Harry Wilson Brown, Bradley Watts and Bradley Horsham. And the lap times have now absolutely grown massively now thanks to that water. The current lap times are around about the 47-second mark, but it's very tricky obviously for these young gents to deliver that power of that Rotax engine through them slick tyres in the wet. Now Ryan is still just about in the lead. It looks like Tommy 3 seconds to go. Looks like Tommy Foster's dropped back down to last according to the computer screen, but not quite sure what happened there. Must have got caught out of a lot of the other action to keep watching to see where everybody is out there. Everyone's slipping and sliding around on the wet. But Tommy Foster, it appears, is now down in 9th position. It is now the current position is Ryan from Tommy Spottiswood, from Luca Bright, from Angus Fry, from Harry Wilson Brown, from Bradley Watts. Unless anyone's made a little mistake out there, which it appears they are all good at the moment. It's okay, I'm being informed. The timing I'm looking at, my screen has now frozen, so I can only go on what is going out on the circuit. So it's going to be, even I don't know who's going to win this one until I can spot it. It's 99 from 95 at 59 at the moment. So at the moment it's Ryan from Tommy Foster. And I can see them both, and they are nose to tail. This is going to possibly shape up to a great finish. So it's Ryan from Tommy Foster, from Tommy Spitterwood, from Lucas Bright, Angus Fry, Harry Wilson Brown, Bradley Horsham, Bradley Watts, Harvey McLean. Tommy Foster has a little slide. I believe the lead it is as well, going through the bottom corner. It is absolutely soaked down there now. So they're all going to be nice and sliding around. It is going to be who can be gentle but brave. So Ryan is now just in front of Tommy Foster as they go through the horseshoe for another lap. There's 38 seconds to go before the final last lap board goes out for the day. So there's another lap or two to go on this one. Tommy Foster makes a little move. He's alongside. He is just in front as they go across the line in front of Ryan. Tommy Spottiswood is gently behind him in another 11 kart. And then there's a reasonable jump back down to 4th as these slightly more possibly experienced drivers are just gently pulling away. Having said that, Tommy Foster, speak too soon, off into the tyres down at the hairpin. So it proves even the best drivers or the good drivers and experienced drivers do get caught out on slicks in the wet. Sorry about the commentator's curse, Tommy. So as they go across the line now, it is Ryan from Tommy Spitterwood. From Lucas Bright. Tommy Foster comes through in 4th. So last lap now. So unless anything happens to those leaders, it's going to be interesting for Tommy when he gets back to that awning. So as the leaders make their way through the top part of the corner circuit, slipping and sliding through there. And Ryan takes the win in the kart 99. Kart 11 of Tommy is in second. Just waiting for the next driver to come through now because I don't jinx it anymore. It is the 57 kart, Lucas Bright. Tommy Foster makes it to fourth in the number 59 kart. Angus Fry comes through for fifth in the 46th kart. Hay Wilson Brown makes the top six. Just wait to see out the window, and it is Bradley Horsham in the 58 kart to take seventh, and Bradley Watts in the 17 kart to take eighth, and Harvey McLean in the number 71 kart takes ninth. Unfortunately, Oakley and Bradley and Michael did not make it to the checkered.